Soccer fans are excited and with good reason. What a start to this World Cup. Next up, Turkey A on Thursday night, and then the knockout round a week from Wednesday in Santa Clara. Here's Johnny Resendez with a special guest for all the World Cup scoop.
It is a privilege to be joined by Sam Hill from the FC Dallas Radio Network. We are here to break down what we have seen from the World Cup so far. And first, we're going to talk about the U.S. men's national team, because what a performance, Sam. Yet another win, yet another clean sheet from the U.S. men's national team. And we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of this, folks. This is going to be Soccer 101. U.S. winning against Australia in a very different way compared to Paraguay, right? The identity of what Mauricio Pochettino wants to do was still there, the high pressing, the movement off the ball, but the tactical adjustments and the fluidity was something else. What do you think?
The big question was going to be, with no Christian Pulisic, who's out with that weird calf injury, what was the national team going to do without him? Well, the answer was, out goes Pulisic, in comes Ricardo Pepi, the former FC Dallas man, and they switched to what ended up being a 3-5-2 with Flo Balogun and Ricardo Pepi up top. But Balogun, being a very flexible, very fluid player, takes those outside channels, and we see it on the first goal, where when he gets the ball from the midfield, he takes that far left channel, and then Pepi, instead of crashing the near post, goes central. He makes that big central run that strikers like, and he carries two of those Australian center backs with him. So when Balogun sends the ball in, instead of it coming to Pepi, ironically, it bounces off the Socceroo and into the net.
Are we still thinking quarterfinals here after these two performances? Or are we thinking even higher, Sam?
I mean, admittedly, I'm a little gun shy, because I followed this team through missing Russia in 2018, through losing in Qatar in 2022, losing in Brazil in 2014. So I want to be optimistic. I really, really do. And I think the path lays out for them to get to 16 very easily. But what happens after that is kind of unknown, because the U.S. has never been that far in modern history before. So you can be hopeful. There's all the reason in the world to be hopeful right now. But as someone that has been following the team for a long time, there's reason to be a little gun shy, to be a little shelter dog-like in this regard. But I don't blame anyone for dreaming big. This is the most talented team that the U.S. has ever had. You can argue it's the most tactically strong and high-profile coach they've ever had at a time when soccer has never been more popular in the United States. If there's a time to dream big, it's right now.
Let's talk about the favorites of this World Cup, right? And some of the big dogs, how they performed after one full slate of group stage games. You saw someone like Spain and Portugal not get the result, but then you also see other teams who look like they fit the bill to make a deep run. Who has impressed you the most throughout this group stage, Sam?
So far, you know, in addition to the U.S., obviously, it's hard to knock Germany. They win 2-1 against the Ivory Coast. They destroy Curacao 7-1. I mean, that's a former champion and a proud footballing nation, knowing what they do best, doing what they do best. They've also got a very good coach in Julian Nagelsmann, who has had a lot of success in German football and international football. I mean, they are just taking care of business right now when it comes to their group stage matches.
So one team that I think has been very impressive has been England, right? But one that I think has just taken it to a whole nother level. This is going to sound very chalk of me, folks, but it's France. It's France. You have Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembele, and Michael Olise in one line. And then at the very top, following that, is Kylian Mbappe. That is an absurd attack. They absolutely stomped Senegal 3-1, and Senegal is no joke. That team is French-born, French-bred. They have cohesion. They have chemistry. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see what they do in this tournament. Let's talk about another host country, Mexico, right? There's been a lot of talk about how, yes, they've gotten the results that they've wanted, but not the performances, right? It's very much haram ball. We like to say that in soccer, where it's boring, it's uninspiring, it's too proactive. They're too much of pragmatists here. Javier Aguirre has taken his Mallorca formula that brought him to the Copa del Rey final into the Mexican national team, which is a stark difference because Mexico is used to that high-paced, two por two type of soccer. And I don't care. I really don't care, because the results are there. You are going to be staying in the Estadio Azteca with the elevation, the pollution. That is going to be on your side. I'm getting too much into my diatribe. Sam, what are you thinking right now?
I mean, look, haram ball is scary. It is not fun to watch. It is very ugly on the pitch for fans on in-person TV alike. but it wins. It gets results. And Mexico has already advanced to the knockout rounds. They were the first team to win their group. And I understand fans being frustrated. It's not pleasant to watch. But would you rather have pleasant losses or ugly wins? And when it comes to that style that Javier Aguirre has played, yes, you'd like to see a little more explosiveness, a little bit more goals. They could have pushed the tempo in their first couple matches, but they beat South Korea. They secured the group. If it works, that's the only rule in soccer.
Sam, appreciate the time.
Thank you, Johnny.